Good morning and welcome to Fox Sports coverage of these World Cup qualifiers with the Socceroos, this fourth and final match in Kuwait, taking on Jordan. And Jordan, going into these qualifiers, were noted as the toughest opponent, had one win earlier pre-COVID, and now it's time to play them again. With it all sewn up, Australia will be playing in the third stage of qualifying by the AFC standards later in the year. Jordan, well, they've got an outside chance of going through as one of the runners-up. And it's a big welcome in the early hours of this morning on the east coast of Australia to Robbie Slater and Mark Bosnich as always. Hello, boys.
Hello, Adam. Good morning.
Good morning. And first of all,
yes.
Robert.
Yes, Robert.
Slater, OIM, congratulations.
Massive
Thank
congratulations.
you very much.
Well done.
You thought you were in trouble.
No, I thought I was in trouble.
Yes, you did.
I thought, well, we know I'm in trouble, but that's for another day. Yeah,
congratulations.
Yeah, it was fantastic for the families. So,
well done.
yeah, thank you very much. Geez, that was a while ago.
It was.
Huh? The Red Baron.
My favourite combo in Australian football. That's one of my favourite photos in Australian football. Yeah. Idolised you as a kid, Rob.
That was after New Zealand at the old, what was it called?
Olympic Park.
Olympic Park, yeah.
Eddie Krensovich as well. Got one?
Yes.
Yeah, congratulations.
One of the trailblazers, fellow trailblazers of Australian football, Robbie.
Yeah, before Craig Johnson was, the first, but Eddie Krensovich, David Mitchell were the first two to really go over. I mean, Eddie was an absolute legend and still is at Anderlecht. And moved to Mulhouse in France and then Liège, and obviously a wonderful career for the Socceroos. But great player, great striker, great header of the ball.
Outstanding. Well done to both of you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thanks.
Waiting for your knighthood coming up soon.
Sir Mark.
Sir Mark. Sir Marcus Aurelius. Hey, let's get into what we're about this morning. And this World Cup qualifier for the Socceroos, the last look at these players before the real stuff begins later in the year. And this group, how it's placed at the moment going into tonight. Well, the Socceroos can win 8 in a row in this particular group, which is some achievement, never been done by an Australian side in men's football before. Perfect 100% record. It's just such a great achievement to be able to do that so far. Syria and Japan have also got 100% records, so that's how hard it is to do across the 8 groups all of Asia. Only Syria, Japan and Australia have got those 100% records. Just with that table, I was going to explain it. We'll get back to that later. We'll put it up in a second. Here's the team that we're playing. That Graham Arnold has selected to play Jordan tonight. So Matt Ryan back in goal. He will captain the side. We're thinking, guys, it could be a back three with Trent Sainsbury, Harry Souttar and Milos Degenek all selected. Ryan Grant, this is Bajic either side. Jackson Irvine and Kenny Dougal in the middle of the park. Aidan Rustic, Martin Boyle, you'd say, giving a bit of width, supporting Jamie McLaren through the middle. Unless maybe Sainsbury could push into midfield, but
we'll soon find out.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but
it's possible, but it's a good time to experiment. We're through, and given the players and the recovery they've had, he's obviously gone for this lineup. It's a very experienced lineup, and obviously the two on the flanks are very important to the way the Socceroos play. Bajic on the left and Ryan Grant on the right.
What do you make of it?
Yeah, look, it would depend when you talk about the 3 at the back. Nominally, that looks as though it's going to be a 3 at the back, but that will stop straight away if Jordan are only playing 1 up front. They'll push one of those 3 centre-backs will come into midfield. But like Robbie just said, it's a good time to experiment. Last time that Graham Arnold will have a chance to look at his team. So we'll see how this formation pans out. And that will be in the back of his mind coming up to the phase 3, which will be where the real business starts. Yeah,
the Jordanians probably, Basa Faisal will lead the line, their striker, with a lot of experience around them. The Jordanians who have caused Australia a bit of trouble from time to time.
Over the years,
2012, 2015, 2019 Asian Cup, defeating us, 3 wins out of the 6 meetings between the 2 nations. But Australia, at this little hub situation in Kuwait, what has Graham Arnold got out of it most?
Well, he's been able to. What was it? When it started, 567 days. So he's able to have the team together. And I want to give you a little snapshot as we see some of the goals of what they've been living. I mean, they're living in a lockdown. So they're not allowed out of the hotel. They get escorted to training. Training is at 8 o'clock every evening. Police escort there. As soon as they finish, police escort back. Close the doors. There's no one in the hotel. There's just one other team. I think it might be Kuwait. I don't know. And then they're eating. Their dinner is at 10:30, and their bedtime's around 1 or 2 in the morning. And that's how they've lived throughout this hub. So it's been incredibly difficult mentally for the players because all that time in lockdown, not allowed out the front door. So you got the beautiful swimming pool there, not allowed in it, not allowed near it.
Not even in the pool.
No.
50 degrees.
That's exactly right.
That's harsh.
So
Anyway,
those conditions, I mean, they've done extremely well.
Yeah, they have praised the hotel staff and the facilities that they've been afforded there, and it's a different circumstance that they're operating under, but they've done well despite the circumstances. What about the football, Boz? What have you picked out football-wise, what we've got out of these 3 matches so far?
Hrstic. I think he's really opened up the possibility that, that he's going to start, come the real business. He's shown a different side, if you like, in terms of a number 10 that can really be creative and it can take set plays, pass the ball in between the lines. I think him and Karacic have both been the two, you could say, finds of this little period. But I'm sure Graham and his staff will go away, look at all the videos. They'll be looking closely at today as well, see how it went with the 3 at the back. Because they've got to be adaptable when it comes and to the, like I said, to the real business. Because there won't be any time or margin for error when it comes down to the real stuff. Yeah,
the subs, by the way, the 5 who aren't taking part. By the way, Mitchell Duke flew back to the UK to be with his wife and children, who he hadn't seen in about 200 days because he was playing football in Saudi Arabia, and then went out to Australia to join Western Sydney Wanderers, his family back in the UK. So he's been given an early leave pass, wasn't going to be involved in this game. Denny Jonro, Connor Metcalf rested totally from this one. You'd imagine that they'd be straight to the UAE to continue preparations for the Tokyo Olympics. Matt Leckie as well was going to play tonight, but has a bit of general soreness. Nikita Rukovitsia and also Lawrence Thomas is not on the subs bench. So, we might see Adam Taggart, because he is finally on the subs bench. Robbie, the only player really we haven't had a look at.
Well, in that respect, I think we're pretty sure to see him at some stage as one of the subs. So, yeah, look, I think going back to what Boz has said, he's had 31 players, and it's not just what he's seen in the games, it's also seen what they've been doing at training, and he would have learnt a lot from these players. And for those players that are going to go off to the Olympics, tremendous experience.
So this is the table, the standings in Group B, and I jumped out before I got to mention about Jordan. So they need a win tonight and a lot to go their way in the other groups to finish as one of the 5 best runners-up to get through. At the moment, it's Oman, China, Lebanon, Uzbekistan and UAE, but there's a lot to happen in the next few hours, because a lot of the other groups, the top 2 are playing each other. So Vietnam are playing UAE, Saudi Arabia are playing Uzbekistan, Iraq are playing Iran. What a match that is. That's kicking off in about an hour's time. Syria, Japan, Korea and Australia are the 4 teams definitely in. The rest is open to question. So Jordan need a lot to go their way. If they get something out of this, they're a chance. If they don't, well, you dare say that they're going to lose second spot to Kuwait, who will play Chinese Taipei at the same time. But Kuwait can't go through because the matches against Chinese Taipei won't count because North Korea pulled out of another group. So, yeah, there's a lot to happen. But by the time we all wake up after our sleepy 9 hours after this game in a few hours' time, we'll know exactly who is going to be in the pots for that crucial 3rd stage. And,
it's if Iraq beat Iran, I was reading as well that Iran may be gone.
In trouble. Yeah,
in big trouble.
Well, at the moment, Iran are 2nd in that group, and they are outside the top 5.
Wow.
So Iran could go, Jordan could go, and China and those other nations could sneak through the back door. So
that would be massive if Iran missed the next phase.
Hey, why have Jordan caused us problems? Do you know?
Well, they haven't caused us many problems at home here in Australia, but away from home they have. And Robbie mentioned on the first telecast that we had, and why he had a few concerns about obviously this little hub. But not so much if we have to have a hub for the final phase of qualifying, is that our record in the Middle East is not particularly good. And they really know how to play in those type of conditions. They suck us in, they play at a pace that suits them. And invariably, especially when they get a lead, they're very, very difficult to break down. And we saw that. We've seen that in qualifiers. We also saw it in the last Asian Cup in that opening game, if I remember rightly. I think tonight's a good opportunity for us to sort of start laying those fears a little bit to rest. And then from a psychological point of view, I think it's very, very important.
We are off to a quick break with our countdown to the Socceroos' last World Cup qualifier in this phase. We're going to hear from Graham Arnold, the coach, right after this.
Have a great afternoon.
Welcome back. Just reminiscing with Robbie Slater about
Jordan.
Harry Redknapp was Jordan's manager when they came down here and we gave it to him 5-1.
Yeah.
Yep. Had a great afternoon
that's
without
right.
Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, exactly. Don't elaborate, Rob.
We had
Yeah.
some funny stories.
Oh, very
just
good.
talking about stories. Darnie was one of his favourites.
Yeah.
Well, he says, Robert, I didn't know where to play him or kiss him. Darnie was a young boy, came from Ajax. He was very good looking. Hello, chicks, as Bozzy used to say.
But it wasn't Arnie. And speaking of Arnie, Graham Arnold
Here he is.
standing by right now. Here he is before this one against Jordan.
Graham Arnold, there's a slice of Australian football history on offer this evening with the Socceroos having the chance to win 8 consecutive FIFA World Cup qualifiers in a single campaign. How ready are the team for this clash?
Yeah, look, we'd rather not look at that. It's always about just one game at a time, and you know, we haven't really spoken about that at all. It's just more about Jordan, and you know, I expect every time we go on the pitch, especially wearing an Australian badge, that we go out there to win, expecting to win the game. So we haven't spoken about that. If that happens, great. Otherwise, it's just more about an improved performance tonight after the Nepal game.
You've named a strong starting side for tonight against Jordan. However, Matthew Leckie's one notable absentee. What can you say about his absence?
Yeah, look, it's just down to fatigue and you know, short turnaround. So, you know, Lex pulled up a bit sore and he's not ready to play 90 minutes, and I need everyone on the team sheet to be ready to play 90 minutes. And the fact that we can use 5 subs, we want, you know, I expect energy. So Lex unfortunately can't do that. So we've got plenty of great depth, and I think we've shown that this camp, and we will continue to do so.
And a personal milestone tonight for Trent Sainsbury, his 50th appearance for the Socceroos. He made his debut all the way back in 2014, so a nice milestone for him.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. But that's fantastic news, and you know, it's just shows you how important it is to play for the Socceroos, but also, you know, to hang in there and play for the Socceroos, because, you know, 50 times at this moment in your lifetime is not that many. But it's a great experience, and, you know, he'll continue to get better and better.
Graham, thanks very much, and all the best for tonight's clash against Jordan.
Thank you.
Yeah, 50 caps has happened quick for Trent Sainsbury, hasn't it, Robbie? It seems like yesterday he was playing in the A-League with Central Coast, a big talent coming through, and here he is. He hasn't played a lot in the last couple of months. It's good for him to get match minutes in these fixtures.
Look, it's a great story, Trent Sainsbury. I remember meeting him for the first time, and you know, he scored some goals as well, but he's proved to be a great leader, and you know, his career's had its ups and downs, but he seems a lot more settled now. But I remember his career didn't start off very well, because I remember when he was I remember going up for a Central Coast game, and I walked out and Trent was sitting on the bench, and all the players were warm out, and he wasn't dressed, he wasn't even on the bench. And he had a bit of a long face on. I went up and I said, Trent, I said, what's the problem, mate? He says, oh, you know, I just want to play. I said, well, if you stop dating the coach's daughter, then you might get a chance. Of course, it's a great story, because Graham was the last to find out, and of course he's now married with Alyssa, and they have children. So it's
worked out.
It had a difficult.
This kind of explains the captaincy as well.
Had a difficult beginning, but it's a great story, and he's a great kid. He loves playing for his country.
Yep.
And like all of the boys do, and it's a very proud moment for him to get his 50th cap.
We understand he's part of a back three alongside big Harry Suter tonight. So Graham Arnold obviously likes the look of this guy. And it's not all about, you know, being the big giraffe at set pieces and being a danger. It's a handy asset. It's about defending first.
Yeah, of course it is. We know that. But this is not just a handy asset. This is a weapon, in my opinion. We know, you know, from our experience of playing in Asian football, that one thing that you could say, there's a lot of things that I've watched a lot of the Asian players have really got over us, and I would say with technique, they're very, very fast, very, very good in tight spaces. But if there's one thing that we can definitely say that we perhaps have over a lot of the Asian teams, is our ability in the air, and he epitomises that completely, and that really is a weapon. However, coming into the qualifiers, like the main qualifiers, I'll be very interested to see how he goes against some of the better Asian players in terms of his defending perspective, because like you just said, you know, as much of a weapon that is, it's no good to, because his first job is to defend. So that's going to be very interesting to see.
And it's a point. It's a good point, because we saw how Tim Cahill dominated Asia in the air. Teams were fearful of him. Yeah, the amount of headed goals he scored was extraordinary. And he was, even in the Premier League, he was very good in the air, but certainly in Asia he was prolific.
The other Scotsman if you like, the naturalised Scotsman, the Aussie Scot, Martin Boyle, his output in this hub, and since Graham Arnold has brought him into the national team.
Yeah, look, I think he's produced, and I think he's one of our, he's sort of one of the players, one of our main players. Now he creates, and he's got the odd goals himself. So look, I think he's a big part of what's going to happen in phase 3.
Danger every time he gets the ball, in my opinion. I think he was one of the biggest miss from the Asian Cup. Obviously got that injury right beforehand, and I remember listening to on the radio, and they said he was out, and I thought, I just had a really bad fit because, like I said, he's another one that very, very direct. He's got decent pace, and you saw with the other night with the penalty as well. Like I said, there's no messing around with him. He just goes direct for a goal, and I think when you see him play against a lot of these teams, he sends the shivers down the spine.
The number 9 position is an interesting one, Robbie. Matt Leckie can operate there. Adam Taggart, obviously getting going in Japan with his club football, hasn't got a go at this hub, might come off the bench tonight. And Jamie McLaren, Golden Boot winner here in the A-League. Knowing Jamie, knowing the fact that he's got the position this evening, he will view this as the ultimate opportunity to nail down this position.
Yeah, look, and
that's
that's the way you've got to look at it, because when you play, that's the only time you can claim it. And if you play in that number 9 position and you score goals, you'll keep it. It's quite simple. The equation for strikers is very, very simple.
And depending on the opposition that we have and the way they want to play, if you want to play with somebody with pace to keep the opposition a bit further back, they may go for, like you said, someone like a Leckie. But if you want somebody that can go one way, pace, maybe not as quick as Leckie, but not far off, but also come the other way, and is a prolific goal scorer, you've got Jamie there as well. And that's going to be so important. We still don't know 100% certain if it's going to be the normal track of qualifiers once a month, or is it going to be in a hub? Because if it's going to be in a hub, the squad is going to be so important. And once again, they're going to have to show their adaptability. And I'm sure Graham, after his experience at the Asian Cup, will realise that.
We're off to a quick break because kick-off is around the corner. The Socceroos and Jordan not far away. Welcome back. Teams on their way out. Australia to take on Jordan. Robbie Slater, Mark Bosnich. Quick closing comment and a tip.
I'll go for the tip first. I will say Australia 2-0. Closing comment, let's go out in style. Simple as that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Australia to win.
Simple as that. So we're about set for this one. Jordan with a lot to play for in order to try and get through to the next phase, and just after the anniversary of Australia playing its first ever match at a World Cup finals. That was against East Germany in 1974. Socceroos another little step along the path to qualifying for another World Cup. A lot to negotiate in the next phase, but it's about building something in this phase, and this is the last little step in this phase. Trent Sainsbury on his 50th occasion as a Socceroo. Congratulations to him. Matt Ryan to captain. And we're going to stop for the anthems right now. And on the other side of the anthems, to take you through things, Andy Harper and Brenton Speed.
Gentlemen, please stand for the national anthem of Jordan. And now, the national anthem of Australia.
Can Australia complete a perfect qualification phase in Group B and make it 8 wins out of 8? They've already beaten Jordan once in the Middle East. Can they do it again in Kuwait City tonight? Temperatures around that 40-degree mark again. And it's a massive night for Jordan, who are 95th in the FIFA rankings. They must win this game. It's win or bust, or they won't be part of the next phase of World Cup qualifying that Australia secured a long time ago, of course. There's a look at the 11 named by Graham Arnold tonight. 5 changes in all made to the starting 11. And our referee tonight is from South Korea, Kim Woo-sung. Hasn't been in charge of a Socceroos game before.
As your captain, okay. Is it okay? Okay. Which one? Both. Oh. Which side? Okay. Good luck. Okay. Yep.
The 2 goalkeepers leading their respective countries. Yep. Matty Ryan, his 61st cap tonight, past John Kosmina and alongside Attila Abonyi into equal 17th all time on the Socceroos games list. There's no more Amir Shafi in goal for Jordan, who's often been the scourge of the Socceroos with some wonderful performances. He retired earlier this year. So Motaz Yassin, his long-time understudy, the 38-year-old, is in goal tonight. Here's how Australia are listed to line up. Well, according to the local television crew anyway, Ryan Grant obviously won't be a centre-half. And we expect Australia perhaps to play with a back 3. Trent Sainsbury on the Socceroos official team list says that he'll play as a defensive midfielder. So we'll see how that all plays out. Here's how Jordan line up. The danger man, Baha Faisal, up top. 6 goals in this World Cup qualifying campaign. 3 against Nepal, 3 against Chinese Taipei. Can he do it against Australia tonight and score a priceless goal for the Jordanians? Head-to-head, it is 3 wins apiece between these two. Win for win since the first meeting in 2012 when Jordan triumphed 2-1 in Amman. They won the first 3 meetings in the Middle East, including that 2019 Asian Cup success. But the Socceroos did beat them on their home patch last time they met, November 2019. Jordan kicking things off in white and red tonight. And Australia with a really strong starting 11 here. Andy Harper and Trent Sainsbury looks like he is in that defensive midfield role.
Yeah, new role for him from our viewpoint at least. Great to be with you, Speed, of this last match of this phase of qualifying. Australia have had difficulties in this part of the world against Jordan. And the circumstances suit Jordan as best they can, really, in a match they need to win, as you've suggested. And everything set up for them. Australia playing away from home in hot conditions on a bumpy pitch. And if Jordan can turn this into a fight rather than a football match, if you understand the point I'm making, which is what they like to do, and they certainly, history suggests, are favourites if they can turn the dial in that respect.
Vital Borkelmans against Graham Arnold, as they were as players in the 1990s in Belgium. Arnie as the striker, Borkelmans as a defender. Here they are in the respective technical areas tonight. Jackson Irvine in midfield and Sainsbury committing the foul, rather theatrically earned by Yusuf Ahmad. One of a handful of players who play abroad. He's in the Qatari 2nd division. Actually born in the UAE. Had a choice of countries, decided to pledge his allegiance to Jordan, the left winger. Hassan Al-Arab with the free kick. Back to the man who earned it. And he was offside rather sloppily. Ryan Grant back in that right back role tonight. Interesting to see the way Graham Arnold looks at that position going forward after the performances of Fran Karadzic in this tournament.
Yeah, and he's been obviously juggling selections between the considerations of form and recovery. These very difficult circumstances for all the teams in the hub. I dare say, outside of the, of course, complete honour it is to play international football, they can't wait to get into more comfortable surrounds.
Irvine with a real burst from midfield. Jackson Irvine. And they asked for the tip over from Motaz Yassin, and that hasn't been spotted by the officials if there was one.
Great burst from Jackson Irvine, really growing in stature. Has been a rusted-on Socceroo for a while now, but seems in a personality sense to be becoming even more dominant, and this was a run with real purpose.
Took a little bobble as he hit it, just unable to keep it down. Will decide his club future in the coming days when he returns to Scotland. Jackson Irvine played out the season with Hibs, but hasn't agreed to terms on extending that deal. Bit of a free agent, although an offer is on the table from the Scottish Premier League side. Interesting to see where he winds up playing his football this coming season. Here's Deganek of Red Star Belgrade, enjoying great success in Serbia. Sutar to Sainsbury, seeing plenty of it on that right side of defence / midfield. Miscontrol from Martin Boyle allowed Ahmed Samir to nick it away. Jordan surging through midfield, and Martin Boyle tracked the run. In the end, committed the foul, and Musa Al-Tamari has put Boyle in the book. The Jordanian Mo Salah, a little too hot to handle there.
Well, there's one in every Asian team, their version of some international great. But I tell you, after just singing the praises of Jackson Irvine for his run through the Jordan team, I think Musa Al-Tamari has seen Jackson and raised the effort. What a fantastic run. And just as an indication, Brenton, if it's Martin Boyle who's chasing him and struggling to make an impression, just goes to show how much speed he had going across the ground. Super stuff from Musa.
Well, he's their great hope, playing abroad in Belgium. So Trent Sainsbury will be very familiar with him. Sainsbury didn't go on the pitch when the two clubs met earlier this year. You've got the experience here of Baha Abdul Rahman or Baha Faisal. Matty Ryan in goal, and it is Abdul Rahman just wide of that top corner, and his teammates know how close that was. Matty Ryan was flying through the air trying to get there.
Well, a goal from a set piece like this would have actually befitted the run that led to the free kick. It's an excellent sequence. That's really, really close. Excellent sequence from Jordan. Superb penetrating run from Musa, and Baha Abdul Rahman, the set piece. Really put the frighteners through Matt Ryan.
He's into equal second all-time on their appearances list tonight. Baha Abdul Rahman, 131st cap for him, alongside Amir Deeb. Only Amir Shafi, the long-time goalkeeper, ahead of them on the all-time appearances list. So an early wake-up call for the Socceroos. Sutar of Stoke City in the English Championship. Irvine back to the milestone man, Trent Sainsbury, cap number 50 tonight. Here's Kenny Dougal. second start in Socceroos colours for him. Bajic appeals for handball against Musa Al-Tamari, who's just gliding across this surface when others are troubled by it. In the end, tripped up, and Ryan Grant won it back cleanly. Jamie McLaren unable to get into the game as yet. Irvine was looking for him again. Hassan Haddad asked for the whistle. The referee from Korea happy to let things flow.
That's Aziz Bajic appealing for the handball. Here's an excellent angle of how close that free kick was.
Irvine helping it on. And Hrustic, Australia's number 10, flicking it back to Grant.
Sainsbury's dropped back into the defence line again, which is interesting. On just a watching brief, is he going to float forward into that midfield role or ostensibly play as a centre half?
He's the main ball player of that defensive unit, and Graham Arnold said that's it. He liked the way they were moving forward there, but Grant wasn't found by Sainsbury. Three years ago today, Australian time, the Socceroos World Cup in Russia began with a hard-fought 2-1 loss to the eventual champions France. Can Australia be part of that grand occasion again in Qatar at the end of next year? Difficult qualifying phase to come up next, but they're through. Iran are not. They face Iraq later on this morning. Fascinating to see how that unfolds. If Iraq can knock off Iran, then they'll be out of the next phase, and Australia would welcome that.
Well, I'm not sure if the tournament organisers from this point would. One of the massive teams in Asia are Iran. And bizarrely, Speedy, it remains the case that the last time Australia played Iran was at that MCG fateful night. All these years in Asia, so far we've avoided them.
Handball, the adjudication here against Salam Al-Ajalin. That is amazing. And Australia have yet to face Iran. Of course, if they get a positive result against Iraq, then we may well get them in the next stage of qualifying.
And it is the case that at that level of Asia, Australia has had to square off against every other country at some point in a competitive sense, but not Iran.
Little flick in the eye for Aiden Hrustic, which Vital Borkermans doesn't enjoy, because his team has the momentum here and he wants the game to flow. Can't settle for a goalless draw or a point tonight. They need all three, and his team is off to an impressive start here.
Yeah, well, on this evidence, it's clearly the best team Australia's played in this group. As with Iran's situation, it's quite bizarre that Jordan are in the last chance saloon tonight. They should have done this way more comfortably.
Yeah, your results against the bottom team in the group don't count in that runner-up qualification scenario. So their results against Chinese Taipei, convincing victories, don't count going forward. So that's why they need all 3 points tonight against Australia. And that's because North Korea were knocked out or taken out of this qualification phase while already starting this phase. So that's how AFC adjusted. Sutar moving it on to Deganek. Kenny Dougal, Wembley hero for Blackpool, will be playing in the championship against Harry Sutar this upcoming season. Best attacking play from Australia, broken up in the end. But Sainsbury stepped up and struck the diagonal out in front of Bajic.
He saw it. He backed himself to drop the ball on the spot. And good on him for doing that, or trying that. Trent Sainsbury, it's another adventurous move forward by Aziz Bajic, but as we've seen on plenty of occasions in this very busy 10 to 12 days of football, that those balls over the top or through the last line of defence have to be measured really expertly, because the ball just runs away.
Sutar, commanding header. And Sainsbury a little clumsy into the back of Faisal, and the referee wants a word. He'd only scored 2 international goals, Baha Faisal, before this phase of qualifying. They feasted on Chinese Taipei and Nepal, scoring in each and every game against them. The time it's Deganek into the back of his opponent, leaving an imprint. No whistle that time, so Boyle can look for McLaren in the middle. Easily cut out by Abdul Rahman. Australia looking to press and create a turnover. Clever header from Dougal to Irvine, and they thought they'd caught Boyle offside, but the flag stayed down. Someone will bring this ball down eventually. And it's brought down for the experience of Baha Abdul Rahman. Years of age. Plays his club football on this pitch in Kuwait. And Boyle finds an angle, does he? Not quite for Hrustic. Great retrieval in the end by Al Ajalin.
There's a nice effort from Martin Boyle. Was a good recovery.
Australia 54 spots above Jordan in the FIFA rankings. It was awkward for Dougal. Kept his hands out of it and now looks forward. Abdul Rahman with a little nick. And Jordan can go forward again. Important step up there by Deganek. I want to give it the chance for Al Tamari to run at him. Couple of shaky clearances so far from Motaz Yassin. Sat on the bench so often behind the whale. Amir Shafi, you missing him tonight, Hubs?
No, not particularly speedy, to be honest. He did a great job for his national team, but he delivered plenty of theatrics along the way.
Irvine, clever header. Stooped to find his Hibs teammate. They've got a great understanding, Boyle and Irvine. Hrustic bending it, and the goalkeeper had his angles sorted. Aiden Hrustic, one of the finds for Australia in this mini hub.
Yeah, well, it's no surprise that he's emerged the way he has, and when he was at Groningen and playing as his first national team exposure, he looked the goods then. And of course, moving up into the Bundesliga. That's obviously accompanied by an improvement in maturity and confidence. And it brings him to this World Cup hub where he's continued and just looked really, really good. But this is a big test for him. A big test, the biggest of the group phase, obviously, because this is the strongest opponent Australia will face. And they've started well, Jordan. So too the Socceroos. Untroubled in the back half of the field, apart from that run, which led to the free kick. Baha Abdulrahman from the set piece, going closer than anyone so far. Apart from that, the whole match has been in Jordan's half. And Australia have closed the field up really, really well.
It was about this stage of the game that Australia scored against Jordan earlier in this qualification stage in Amman, when Adam Taggart was played through by Jackson Irvine for a wonderful finish. Adam Taggart expected to see game time today for the first time in Kuwait after struggling with a hip problem. Boyle has earned the set piece here. A long way from goal, but Aiden Hustic has already scored one sensational free kick against Kuwait. Also a goal scorer in the Bundesliga with a very attacking Eintracht Frankfurt side. We'll be learning plenty off some of the players in that squad. Too far out to go for goal. He is looking for teammates. Irvine beaten to that aerial contest. Might work out for Dougal. Well, Ajalin is there as backup for Jordan. Not really Harry Sutar's go. Vital Borkelmans, it's safe to say that his job is on the line tonight. The Club Bruges legend won 4 league titles with that club, capped 22 times by Belgium, but if he doesn't get them through this stage, then he might be looking for a new job.
Yeah, well, his coaching CV isn't laced with big chapters, and it will be a disaster for Jordan if they don't get out of this group. Compared to some at this stage, it's a very manageable group. The Socceroos outside of that, of course. Always favourites to get through, but Jordan should have made safer passage thus far than they have. So the pressure certainly on Borkelmans and the team. Ultimately, it's the players that are the ones who miss out.
That was Grant's best opportunity getting forward. Unable to pick out teammates in the middle. Yeah, it's goalless draws against Kuwait in both meetings that has really cost Jordan so far, but they can make up for it tonight. Jordan playing Chinese Taipei later on this same pitch in about 2.5 hours' time. And good closing down by Faisal. Helped create the turnover. Baha Abdulrahman looking for options. Seems to have all the time in the world, and he wants a bit more movement, particularly out of Al Tamari moving forward down that right-hand side. Now he's picked up the memo and shifted out to the sideline. Australia have it back though. Irvine wasn't tripped up according to the referee. It's got to be a clear-cut decision for the whistle to be blown. Jackson Irvine furious.
You can just see what a level of this pitch is. Neither team really, when the pressure's on, neither team is really that able to kill the ball and play. It's very frantic.
Well done by Haddad. Earns a corner off Milas Deganek.
And here Australia have Harry Sutar, Mohammed Al Sulama will be the target. Harry Suter, I'm sure, will be sticking to him like glue, two huge humans.
Baha Abdul Rahman taking his time to get the heart rate down before he delivers this set piece. In company with Al Tamari. Australia back the required distance. 3-on-2 situation for Jordan to try and exploit. Australia organised themselves well so far. And that pass was on though. Disappointing not to play Baha Abdul Rahman in. Graham Arnold, who's capped 7 Socceroos debutants over the previous 3 games, including Kenny Dougal. Lawrence Thomas was the latest, coming off the bench the other night in goal. Had a ceremonial cap awarded to him via Zoom by Mark Schwarzer, which was another nice touch. Tim Cahill also weighed in earlier in the tournament to provide caps to the new boys. Little flick here. McLaren was sniffing around. That's his kind of moment potentially, but harmlessly through to the goalkeeper in the end. We speak about it a lot with Jamie McLaren, how he can be on the periphery for so long.
Yeah, and from a Jordan viewpoint, Yazhan Al-Arab reacted just as quickly, and you have to with McLaren around, because it doesn't take much of an invite for him to sense an opportunity and pounce on one.
Bajic finds the feet of Australia's number 9. Boyle, little deflection. Abdul Rahman tracked that run of Jackson Irvine, who wins it back high up the pitch for Australia. Krustic could have gone to him. Brought Grant into play instead. Bit of space for Degenek. Dougal, little no-looker around the corner to Boyle, who's clearly tripped up, and this is a fraction closer to goal in a more central area than the previous one. Boyle interested as well as the right-footed option. The ball is back a good distance here for Boyle to go for goal. And off the stanchion. Boy, did he hit that sweet.
Yassin taking his time, maybe just clearing his head after he was beaten. All ends up, much like Matt Ryan at the other end, and it's exactly the same result. So close. It's a great hit from Boyle.
Scorer of 3 international goals so far in his first 6 appearances for his country before tonight. He was a big miss, as Mark Bosnich mentioned pre-game. He was a late omission from the Asian Cup squad in 2019 due to injury, and then Australia lost first up to Jordan. and missed his spark. He's a real live wire in that attacking third.
Yeah, he's fitted into the team really well since his debut in Brisbane. It was electric that night, and he put a bit of a charge through that one. Not as close as the Jordanian effort of Baha Abdul Rahman at the other end of the field, but spectacular nonetheless.
Named in the Scottish Premier League Team of the Season, Martin Boyle. He's got a £500,000 buyout clause at Hibernian as well. Interesting to see whether any suitors come in to activate that clause and get this man to their club. He's done well again. Finding Irvine, swept on to Grant. Encouraged to push on. Decided to check back, and Sainsbury is tripped up this time. Bajic. Awkward bouncing ball, and Abdul Rahman had to hook it away. Strong work by Grant in possession. One of the elder statesmen in this squad, Ryan Grant, 30 years of age now. Irvine. Grant had made that Sydney FC type run in behind, but Irvine didn't spot him. Falkerman's trying to encourage his team to push out and get on to Degenek. He was good enough to flick it around and give Bajic a bit of room to move into. Right foot strike, as is Bajic. You don't see that too often cutting in.
No, but credit the Jordanian defence thus far, because Australia have been limited to the Martin Boyle free kick. Pretty much this effort. Rustic hit one with his left and forced a comfortable save. And this is the only other real effort on goal that the Socceroos have been able to manage in these very difficult conditions. Bumpy pitch. Effectively for the Socceroos a dead rubber, if such a thing exists in World Cup qualifying. Eyes immediately focused, I'm sure, on the task, but the mind dreaming of home.
Some players will be returning to their clubs, others going on holidays. Some getting ready for the Olympics, of course, including the coach, Graham Arnold. He'll set up camp in Dubai for the next fortnight or so before heading to Japan at the start of next month. Connor Metcalf and Danny Jonro will also stay in Dubai, but Harry Souttar has to go back to Stoke City for a brief period before joining that Ollie Roos setup, and he's partnering Sainsbury and Degenek at the back tonight more often than not when Sainsbury drops into that defensive position. Interesting to see whether Graham Arnold picks overage players for that Olympic squad after the Ollie Roos select in Marbella lost all 3 games.
Well, there's also, you're talking about the guys currently in Socceroos camp, there's the Ollie Roos eligible players who stayed back in the A-League because their teams were still in the finals race. And some of those might come into consideration. I'd like to think Kai Rolls is one of those, at least being considered. Outstanding season for the Mariners.
And of course, all the A-League players available to Graham Arnold, but clubs around the world have to agree to release their players. So that's something that Graham Arnold has to deal with over the next couple of weeks as he settles on his 18-man squad for Japan. 2 minutes plus for that drinks break here in Q8. Energy sapping conditions. An hour of game time to go. Tidy touch there from Suter. More work to do here. Reverse ball, almost playing Faisal in, and great awareness from Milos Deganek. He saw where the threat was.
It was a clever pass in behind. Rashter, a very familiar face to viewers of Asian football over the years, has always popped up for Jordan and nearly slipped that ball through.
Dougal penalised for the high boot into the chest of Faisal. And we've seen what Baha Abdul Rahman can do from this kind of range.
Kenny Dougal pleading that he made no contact with Baha Faisal. Pitchers supported the argument.
Some subtle adjustments from Matty Ryan with his wall after seeing that threat earlier. This time they change free kick takers, and with a head concern, the referee blows up play immediately. Bearing the brunt in that Australian wall is Trent Sainsbury.
Well, Speedy, and Baha Faisal scored a belter against Nepal from a set piece like that. He can whack him. And Trent Sainsbury's felt the full brunt of it. I think defensive walls are going to be a thing of the past for this reason, with the concussion issue.
What's going to happen?
You can't form a wall.
Go with the Bozza clause. I don't need a wall.
That
might try and beat me.
It might open up a whole new set of options, but as football, like all contact sports, is having to deal with this issue, I can see that particular tactic going the way of the dodo.
Well, that'll make some headlines if walls are banned from free kicks. Andy Harper, a visionary.
Well, football is about bringing down the walls, isn't it?
Here is Baha Faisal in general play this time. Switching it up nicely, and men are committed forward here if Al Tamari can keep the attack going. Haddad, a little 1-2. Little slip from Sainsbury, but he just managed to scramble his way and clear the danger. At that last Asian Cup, Jordan not only beat the Socceroos, went on to beat Syria as well in that group stage, and then suffered the shock loss to Vietnam in the round of 16 in a penalty shootout. Boyle, what a move that is. Around the defender like he wasn't even there. And here comes Irvine. Tried to place it in the end, upset with his finish, but it's like they play a two-man game at time, those two.
It's a great burst from Doyle, and you just saw the state of the pitch and what a variable it is. As Jackson Irvine was found by Boyle, it was a great run by both. And then the ball just wouldn't settle for Jackson, and the defenders were closing him down, and it just turned into a really difficult opportunity.
Three goals and 5 assists in 7 appearances in this World Cup qualification phase for Jackson Irvine. Once of Celtic, of course, made his Scottish Premier League debut for that club. Big admirer of Ange Postecoglou. Watch this space potentially. Maybe a return to Celtic Park as McLaren tried to drag it out of the sky. Only succeeded in flicking it on to Yassin in goal. Just overhit by Bajic. Had the opportunity to find Martin Boyle down the line. Teganek brought it down for Dougal. Sainsbury. Krustic wants it back from Dougal, but he chose the wide man in Bajic instead. Room for the cross. Grant arriving late, can go after his own header here. Great strength defensively. Jordan really dropping off here. Australia with the chance to finish the first half strongly. In that previous meeting, they really poured it on in the second half, and they do have some weapons on the bench tonight, Jordan. Often that's looked like the tactic of Borkelmann's against Australia, to keep it tight if he can in the first half and pour it on. Hamza Al-Dador, Anas Bani Yassin among the substitutes. They both boast goals against Australia in the past. Poor giveaway by Sainsbury. Bailed out by Harry Suter. Irvine looking for McLaren once more. Not getting much change out of Al Arab at the moment. Dougal did well in possession under immense pressure in the double team. This pass will roll through for Boyle. Didn't see McLaren at the back post, so bought a little time for those in the middle.
That's good play. Jackson Irvine and Kenny Dougal, I think, have been outstanding in the centre of the park. Martin Boyle buzzing around. He's like a bee in a bottle, isn't he? And he hit a really nice ball in there. Jalen McLaren just couldn't get on the end of it, beaten by the defender.
Now Tamari. Is he going for goal there? Saw Matty Ryan off his line and thought he could give us a little bit of Patrick Schick magic.
A bit of Schick action. How long before he's doing the shaver ads?
Yes. Schick, who scored that wonder goal for the Czech Republic against Scotland in the Euros, from a bit closer to goal than that attempt from Al Tamari. Grant earns the corner. A willing runner down that right flank again tonight, as he is with his club side, Sydney FC. Grand final hero last year. He'll be watching from afar the semi-final this week. Sydney FC hosting Adelaide United on Saturday night as the A-League finals continue. Sutar, an obvious threat. He's got the height advantage, and the referee on top of that. As Krustic delivers. Oh, and he got there as well. Big chance to add to his international goal tally there, Harry Sutar. Couldn't keep the header down.
Mind you, as the ball is whipped in wickedly, Yazan Al Arab, with the unenviable task of trying to track Harry Sutar, sort of kept with him and maybe put enough pressure on. Bumped out of the way. He was there, recovered. There he is, the number 5. So the body check to delay his run, but maybe he put enough pressure on in the end. It was good, diligent play by Yazan.
It was off his shoulder in the end, as that replay showed. Harry Sutar, if it comes off his head, you fancy the back of the net is bulging. Looked like the referee was going to issue a card here. Jordan going into bat for their teammate.
No, that's a blood rush there again. He's gone down a fair few times without a lot of contact. I don't think there was much there. It was more the stud catching the sleeve. Oh, maybe went down the arm a bit. Free kick, fair enough. And I don't think the injury is going to be a terminal one.
Also a caution. You saw the yellow card coming out, so just moments after having the shot to give Australia the lead. Harry Sutar, he's now in the book. His brother John is a Scotland international. Harry Sutar could have gone that way, but pledged his allegiance to Australia. His brother left out of that Scottish squad for the Euros. Abdul Rahman delivers all the way through. That's a stunning save from Matty Ryan, but they've deemed the offside player interfered with play and the goal would not have stood.
Another good free kick though. Clearly offside, but pinpoint precision from Baha Abdul Rahman. Matt Ryan, excellent. Had to play the ball, not the decision. That was yet to be forthcoming. Great scramble from Matty Ryan.
Hopes to make that loan move to Arsenal permanent in the coming weeks and play for the Gunners again this upcoming season in the Premier League. 3 appearances so far for Arsenal. For Australia's number 1. Played all 6 group games in 2014 and 2018 at World Cup level for the Socceroos. Sainsbury has recovered well from that head knock absorbed in that wall.
Well, we hope he has.
That's part of the reason we've got 2 minutes of stoppage time added here. Al Ajaline ready to wind up for the long throw. All a decoy, and it looked a little foul throwish in the end. Matty Ryan was vocal in the camp the other day when they watched the State of Origin. Big rugby league fan is Matty Ryan, toasting the New South Wales success. A couple of his other rugby league tragics like Ryan Grant.
Well, half the squad, being Scotch, wouldn't have known what all the fuss was about, and the other half, south of the Murray, would have shared the amusement.
Then you've got the likes of Aiden Hrustic, who's watching the Euros with Miloš Degenek and Fran Karacic, real students of the game, watching each and every game and breaking it down tactically. Sainsbury again using his head. Likewise, McLaren tried to flick it on for Hrustic. It was a nice idea. Again, didn't get hold of his clearance. Irvine's header gave them a chance. Jordan, a better ball over the top, and Altamari would have been into that space. And that should just about do us for the first half here in Kuwait City. Stop start at times. Free kicks have offered the best opportunities. Matty Ryan was really tested by The set piece from Abdul Rahman that went just wide, and then Martin Boyle nearly shocked Jordan with a wonderful free kick of his own that just bent wide of the left-hand post. So in a must-win game for Jordan, they're level at the break. It is Australia 0, Jordan 0.
Thank you, Speedy. Really good contest, this one. Chances few and far between for both sides, but we'll review all of that and how Australia can perhaps counteract some of the problems tactically that Jordan are posing for Graham Arnold's men. Back in a moment, live Socceroos on Fox Sports. Great to have your company live on Fox Sports. Socceroos have got a real battle on their hands against Jordan. Always a worthy opponent of the Socceroos. Always caused Australia problems, especially in this part of the world, the Middle East. And so it is proving again 0-0 half-time in Kuwait City. Warm conditions still around 40 degrees, really humid as well. Mark Bosnich, Robbie Slater have been watching on in this first half. What'd you pick out of that? What stood out for you, Boss?
Well, first and foremost, the best half of football during this little period, because they're coming up against decent opposition, there's no doubt about it. And also, it must be said, the first time we've come up against decent opposition, we look a little bit idealist when we're going forward. It's a little bit too pedantic, a little bit too, if you could say, like, no, I wouldn't say machine-like, but a little bit too predictable. And as well, at the back, there was a little bit of a concern of mine before the start of the game as well, because they're only playing that one man up front who sometimes will come, and the other two are just in between those other two outside centre-backs and the midfielders. They don't really know whether or not to push one man into midfield or to come back. So they need to sort that out quick, smart.
Robbie, your impressions?
Great game, very fast, good tempo. It's the best game we've had. And I think the other thing to note is that we're playing against a team that are desperate for a result.
That's a good point.
Yeah, we know we're qualified. Now, I'm not saying that's an excuse or whatever, but it is a fact. And they're playing like their lives are depending on it because it is. You know, they need to win. And it's a really good context. And yeah, will he tweak it a bit, change it a little bit? Abdul Rahman's caused problems, not only with that free kick that they nearly scored, but also Faisal up front with his positioning as that sole centre forward. When he drops off the line, we have no one to pick up.
Very true. I think Robbie's made a good point as well, and that's why it's going to be interesting about the intensity, considering the conditions that Jordan are playing at. But you would assume that perhaps they'll be able to deal with it a little bit better than us, but I just don't see them being able to do that for the rest of the second half, because, it's, like you said, it's still 41 degrees.
Well, as a unit, Jordan certainly the more battle-hardened together. This is their 11th game of 2021. They've played game after game, and they've come out with moments like this.
That's that free kick, and Matty Ryan makes a great save a little bit later on as well. But you know, I think Boyle's been very busy up front, and Dougal's had his moments in the midfield. But look, it's a good contest, and Boyle, when he gets the ball and he's able to run at plays, there's that chance there, and a great save from Matty Ryan. But you know, Jordan, you can tell by their intensity, by the way they're into challenges, that they need a result for this.
This is a replica of what we're going to get in the next stage, isn't it? In terms of intensity and opponent.
I think we'll get a little bit harder than this. I mean, just remember as well, this is the team that drew 0-0 with Kuwait. And like Robbie made the point, they have to win. But the bottom line is they're still, in my opinion, an average side in comparison to the other teams you're going to talk about, you know, in terms of Asia, like Japan and teams of that ilk, South Korea. But look, you know, it's very difficult, because when you're in that mode and they know Kuwait, Chinese Taipei, Nepal, no disrespect to the opposition, but, you know, they were sort of, you know, it was pretty much a rollover. You know, there was like sort of not going through the motions, but it was automatic. But all of a sudden now this is a bit of a step up. So it's sometimes hard just to step it up like that. This will be interesting in the second half to see how they react.
Guys, I don't know if you've ever experienced what Trent Sainsbury experienced in that first half, but I can't imagine it's entirely pleasurable.
No.
Yeah, look, I've had one, but I don't think one quite that bad. No, that's it. You know, he's hit that with tremendous power, and he's put his body on the line. In this case, his face.
Yeah. I've had one from close at shooting practice from about 2 metres out on a cold morning, but still, I don't think it was as bad as that. Just watching that, it just looked... I don't know why they don't do that anymore, maybe because they're concerned about the handball. You're not allowed to at all?
Yeah, I remember there was one at Redcliffe, Brisbane in the A-League, and a player lifted it up there. You're not allowed to do it, because that's lifting moving your hand into a position where you're going to use your hand. So you just got to stand there and cop it, unfortunately.
Well, that's exactly what Trent Sainsbury did, and
Pretty much so.
floored him.
The back three.
Look, from a defensive perspective, I think it's been okay, relatively okay. And I'll tell you why, because Matty Ryan, the only real serious save he made was from that free kick. Like I said, but a little bit concerned that, like I said, so those three up front, if one of them comes a little bit forward and the other two are just in the half space, right? The back boys don't know whether or not to come forward, or the midfielders a little bit back, and vice versa. If the two sort of stay to keep those two wide ones back, and then all of a sudden, say one just drops in and the other one comes over here, then you've got three against the actual one at the front.
Yeah.
So then that's making a bit of a problem for them in midfield.
Towards the end, we're starting to press with two on those back three.
Yeah.
So they'd figured it out how to cause them more problems in trying to play
What they're
out.
trying to do is drag them and get them when they're narrow, and when Ryan Grant and Bajic, as we know, like to get forward high and wide, they're trying to get down those channels and drag a centre half.
And the other thing as well, it's always good to have a left-sided player on that left side, because invariably the outside centre-backs need to go to full-back. Sainsbury's okay to go to right full-back. Dejanek is okay as from a defensive perspective, but he's not left-footed. Simple as that.
Maybe Curtis Good might be an option in the second half in that particular position. We are off to a quick break. Second half not far away. 0-0, half-time. Australia and Jordan back with the action in a moment. Welcome back. It's half-time of this big clash, especially from a Jordanian perspective. 0-0 half-time. A reminder, if Jordan get something out of this game, they've got a big chance of going through as one of the best 5 runners-up from the 8 groups in the AFC second round qualifiers, and players about to make their way out. So a massive 45 minutes for any hope for Jordan to qualify for their first ever World Cup, or keep alive hopes of. And we're just assessing things. It doesn't look like changes at the moment, but we'll get total clarification on that in the early stages of this second half, and we'll hand it back to Andy Harper and Brenton Speed.
Thank you, Adam. Yeah, no sign of any change for Graham Arnold. All of the substitutes were out there warming up at half-time. And Jordan keeping a couple of handy weapons in reserve for a late onslaught, potentially. Patience on display from both coaches. Australia looking for 8 straight wins in a World Cup qualifying campaign for the first time. They've scored 27 goals and conceded 2 in the first 7 games in Group B. And they kick things off here. Second half in Kuwait City, before this stage of qualifying ends today. 99 years ago tomorrow, the Socceroos played their first official game against New Zealand. Dougal just caught a bit of the man. I thought it was pretty clean, and he's a player that really impressed you in that first 45.
Yeah, I think he's done extraordinarily well. One of the 7 newly capped players. And he's continued to gain the favour of Graham Arnold, and very understandably so. I think he's been very good.
Mistake at the back. Sutar stepped up to bail out Trent Sainsbury. Ball was not on that time down the line. Not often that Irvine and Boyle fail to link up. Abdul Rahman. Australia frustrating Al Nashima, the brave. Another cheap turnover of possession. Matty Ryan took his time. Good distribution from the back as ever for Grant. Tidy, close control from the right back. Little triangle from Irvine, Boyle and Grant. And Faisal stepped around Kenny Dougal, only has one teammate ahead of him. So wriggles through another couple, brilliant stuff. And finds Altamari, here comes the support. Tried to find him with the reverse and did so. Really good attack with limited resources here from Jordan. And Haddad goes down theatrically, and the assistant weighs in and says that was a foul.
Well, that was a bit ridiculous, really. They bought that, swallowed that one hook, line and sinker. The match officials.
Slight contact from Aidan Hrustic, but not enough for the jump into the air from Jordan's number 23, who wasn't expecting the whistle, judging by that reaction, but the assistant on the near side waved his flag and alerted the man in the middle. So a bonus set piece here for Abdul Rahman to potentially deliver. It is the number 4, and Ryan got an important touch.
Yeah, good hand from Matty Ryan. It was a good attack from Jordan, notwithstanding the softness of the free kick that was ultimately awarded to them. Baha Faisal wriggling away through the centre of the field. It was 1v3 in favour of Socceroos shirts, and still he got through.
Al Jalin fancies himself on the long throw situation, but Australia dealt with it easily enough. Dougal under pressure, and Borkelmans likes what he's seeing there, and a little adjustment at half-time. Knows they have to be more proactive, trying to create turnovers in that part of the pitch. Just an update for you on that crucial World Cup qualifier. Iran v Iraq, and Sada Azmoun has popped up with a priceless goal for Iran. They lead against their long-time foes, who played that cracking game, didn't they, at their 2015 Asian Cup in Canberra. Those two, a famous 3-3 draw. Iraq going through, but Iran on target for the result they need tonight to be part of that next phase of qualifying. That would see them go from risking missing out altogether to topping that group and leapfrogging Iraq. Shows how impressive the performance has been from Australia in this group, with Jordan and Kuwait offering that threat, but Australia winning each and every game so far. They'd love to close out a 100% record, and here's a chance going forward. McLaren looking for the return ball from Boyle, but good defensive work from Khairullah. Hrustic. Rare miscontrol. As is Bajic. Strong win, got his body in the right spot to take it away from Altamari. McLaren trying to get involved in the link-up play in that attacking third, but hasn't been his night as yet. Coolly done in amongst 3 Aussies by Khairullah again. Degenek on the stretch. Irvine with a good win in midfield. And he joins the attack now. Krustic looking for him. A good punch clear by Yassine. And coming together with McLaren, prompting another whistle. And Jordan really firing up here against Jackson Irvine.
Mutaz Yassine. He should be good at this part of the game. His dad was a boxer of note.
Welcome back. We wish you were watching pictures of not me and Bozza here in the studio, but some football at the moment. But unfortunately, technical difficulties have curtailed our coverage at the moment with live pictures from Kuwait. This happens from time to time. This is a problem that's emanating out of the ground through the satellites that get here into Australia. Absolutely nothing we can do about the situation right now, unfortunately. Bozza,
not even shake the TV.
Yeah, shake the TV.
Change the channel.
Retune it.
Yeah, turn it on and off.
Exactly. Reboot your Wi-Fi.
Wait 7 seconds.
Nothing we can do at the moment.
Yeah.
Those 7 minutes that we did see.
Yeah. Both two teams, saw two teams going at it once again, and just underline the fact that, like, number one, the most difficult game that we've had during this period, and number two, the point that Robbie made, which is very valid, the fact that how desperate Jordan are to win. But if we're going to stay up with him, we're going to have to, you know, we're going to have to keep up with him. Really good run there was once again by Boyle, and
this is
highlights from the first half. Yeah.
Just reiterating what we've seen.
Yeah, that was from transition, from a breakdown. Should have hit the target. Well, you can say he did hit the target, but just a little touch there as Robbie joins us, as Hrstić strike straight at the goalkeeper pretty much. And like I said, our majority of chances, in my opinion, they weren't really chances. Those two were really from set plays, if you want to call them chances.
They've lost power at the stadium, I'm hearing, is the problem at the moment.
Well, there is a dust storm, Adam, as I told you during my weather report.
Power at the stadium as in lights?
Yeah, well,
action, everything.
The truck's gone down. We know that because
that's what generally power means, Rob.
Pitches out. I think the game's still going on, following it on live score at the moment. It's still ticking over, so we'll find out exactly what's happened, Robbie. But nice of you to join us.
Well, somebody's just texted me from the stadium that said some of the lights. Yeah, some of the lights have gone out in the stadium. Yeah, and also they've heard that a transmission outage. That's what's come through. So there you go. You
have sources everywhere.
I do.
It's impressive.
Well, you know, I did have something to do. I was just watching the Matildas as well.
How are they going, Rob?
Because I thought you two wouldn't be down here for very long. So anyway.
How are they going, Rob?
Yeah, they're doing okay.
0-0 at the moment?
It's 0-0.
Yeah.
And, yeah, they're playing quite well.
0-0 everywhere. Hungary, Portugal,
hoping
0-0.
these pictures come back, because the last picture we did see was of the Jordanian keeper rolling around like he really shouldn't have been.
Yes, the girls did mention that as well.
It is quite interesting.
Michelle and George mentioned that. So why was he rolling around like that? But anyway...
even contest continues, though, early in the second half.
Yeah, that first half was very even, a good contest, like we said, and Bozza just said it, that Jordan absolutely need to win this game to have any hope of going through to phase 3. Of course, they've never qualified for a World Cup. But for the Socceroos, it's playing for places. You know, in that phase 3, we know that Graham Arnold took 31 players there, and I think they've all done very well, by and large. And I thought Boyle, for us in that first half, looked very, very sharp. And we would love to get the pictures back to follow what's happening, but because it's been the best game we've had in this set of 4 games.
Who's been the most impressive player?
Well, Bozza mentioned Hrstić. You've liked
before the game. I think in the first half, I'd probably...
I thought you were talking about all the games, or you talking about just this game?
For this game.
I thought Boyle looked very sharp.
Yeah.
In the front third.
Yeah. I think no one was outstanding, but I think Boyle,
No, it was a very even contest. You know, they threatened from set pieces. We did as well. So, you know, a lot of the game was played in that middle third.
Yeah.
And they were making it a great contest.
Hearing from the ground that the game is still continuing at the moment.
Marvellous.
They have lost some lights. So, yeah, we can't bring you...
Can I give us a running commentary? Or?
Well, WhatsApp of the person that I know in the stadium at the moment is...
Oh, you think I've got sources? You've got people in the stadium as well?
Hey.
There you go.
We're on the same thread, though. This is the same WhatsApp group that we're on, I
Yeah.
think, so that's where it gets.
Oh, is that where it's coming? Yeah. There you go.
What about overall, then, while we're waiting for pictures to
what
come
about
back?
it?
Overall, who's impressed you most in these 3.5 games?
Well, probably
so far?
Hristich.
Yeah.
As an outsider coming in. You know, I don't think anyone's disappointed in respect, but in respect to really catching the eye, I think Hristich.
Yeah, Hristich and Karacic. The two.
Karacic,
that stood out for me thus far.
Because this phase was all about building depth, as it should be. And
well, yeah, and getting to know each other, like Robbie said, because we still don't know what's going to go on with the qualifiers. Okay, if everything's okay, they'll be played monthly, like normally, starting from, what, September?
That's how it sits at the moment.
That's how it sits. But because of, obviously, the fluid situation that we've got around the world with COVID, that obviously could change. And if that does change, and there's no chance for Graham to have a warm-up camp or something like that, or the players, he's going to have to go straight into it. And what they've learnt and trained with here is going to have to be remembered for when we go into the real, for me, the business end of the qualifying.
Which will be the business end where they go into groups of 6, and the top 2 from each go through.
That's right, 4.5.
Third place.
And July
playoff.
will be decided of who will be playing, or not us, but who the Asian team that wins that playoff will be playing off against.
Okay, they'll find out that. The draw, by the way, for this will be on June 24 in Kuala Lumpur for the next phase. Hearing from the ground, last 5 minutes, no chances either side, still 0-0 at the moment, just past the hour mark. So, yeah, fun times. But it was, as I mentioned before, Robbie, about building depth. You look at a player that Bozza just mentioned, Frank Karacic. You look at right back Ryan Grant. Graham Arnold's got a real decision on his hands if those two keep their form going forward.
Yeah, look, I think, this game's been the best indicator in respect to it being a contest. So it's very, very difficult to judge players in some of those other games that really, like we said, it was a question of how many we were going to get. Yeah. It wasn't a question of are we going to win, it was a question of how many we get. So, you know, that's always difficult. I think you need to put in perspective where the players are playing in the world in respect to Phase 3. Given that it starts at the moment September, what is it? September? What's
that's what it's slated for.
September? Is it October?
September, October, November.
Well,
January. February,
I would venture to say I've got inside information that the A-League won't kick off until late November. And
so
if that is the case, I find it very difficult that A-League players will be selected for those first Phase 3 games because they're not in competition.
But we're still thinking hub, though, aren't we? For like a month or a 3-week.
Well, at the moment, that's not happening. At the moment, the calendar. So what we will have to do is
play away.
We'll have a base away from home, or the other way. Will we get an exemption? It'd be great to see. I don't know if it's possible, but the Prime Minister getting involved in somehow having the Socceroos playing at home. I can see you shaking your head. That doesn't look likely. Yeah. But our politicians have been great friends of the other codes. It's getting a little bit easier because they don't really have international games. Yeah. But we've got World Cup qualifiers, which are very important. And
safety of the country,
yeah, of course it is. But our home form has always been crucial in qualifying for World Cup. So I don't know if there is any way that we could play home games here. Yeah. You guys shaking your heads suggest not, but...
they got elections to win, politicians. Yeah. They've got games to win.
And I guess...
the most important thing is the safety of the people.
And that's what I mean. They've got an election to win. They're going to put that at risk with an election anyway.
Yes.
We'd love to see it. I get what you're saying, though, Robbie. Totally.
There's been question marks over some of the decisions they've made in the past in respect to AFL Grand Final got moved, which was a decision that was very favourable to certain people. In respect to the way that AFL people moved to Queensland, if you remember. There was a lot of controversy over that. Anyway, it's probably not going to happen, but our home form is crucial and always has been in World Cup qualifying. But as it stands at the moment, if the case is we don't get any help, which I fully understand, then we will be playing, you know, in a base away from home. We'll have to find somewhere.
Still 0-0, 65 minutes in. This being more Jordanian time wasting, I'm led to believe as well, from this little timeline we've got going on WhatsApp. We are so sorry about this, but there is literally nothing we can do about it because the pictures we receive out of the stadium need electricity. And unfortunately, that electricity is not being provided to that particular OB van right now, and we're not getting any pictures.
That's right.
We're just painting pictures with our words.
But going back to what we're talking about, so therefore, if that happens and it rests the way it is, the A-League players aren't in season, so they won't be fit to play in World Cup qualifiers, you would imagine.
It's a massive conundrum going forward. But
that's the way we're living at the moment, worldwide. It's as simple as that. We're going to have to be adaptable. But this is why, coming back to the original point, which elicited this conversation, you asked the question about, sort of the good points about this hub and this camp, and that's what I would have to done so much work together. In terms of playing in different ways, different combinations, because I really do think, like I said, when it does come down to this third phase, that all these type of things are going to happen. Then you've also got things to take into consideration like suspensions, possible loss of form, touch wood, hopefully not, injuries. So it really is going to have to be a case of, adaptability is the mark of a genius. And there you go. Yeah. So they're going to have to think in that way.
Yeah, where do you put it then? Okay, 2013, we got through. It needed something
last game
amazing from Mark Bresciano to Josh Kennedy. 2017, we went the long way through Honduras
and Syria.
And that's with our home form.
That's with home form. What kind of achievement will it be? There's no Tim Cahill this time to break the glass on. What kind of achievement will it be to qualify for this World Cup, in your opinion, Robbie?
Well, if we have to play all our games away from home, it'd be massive. Absolutely massive.
Yeah, totally agree. If we have to play all our games away from home,
it'll be very difficult. Yeah, make no bones about it.
I even think if it was just normal, like you're basically making the point, it was going to be very difficult this time. And
there's no doubt that
the pitch is back.
We're back.
Yes.
They plugged it back in the OB van, and we're back in Kuwait.
And the people at home rejoice.
We'll be back at full time. Please let this hold. Andy Harper, Brenton Speed, back to you.
Well done, boys. Expert tatting back in the studio. Still 0-0 in Kuwait City. Jordan must win, of course. Australia want to win to close out a 100% record. And looks like the same 11 remains with a quarter of the 90 to go. Sainsbury bringing it down for Grant. Dougal with a vertical pass. And Boyle held up and the ball kicked away by Noor Al Rawabda. Krustic with real strength on the ball and just wrong-footed, as is Bajic. And he has made a home in the Turkish Super League, as is, after playing with both the Victory and the Melbourne Heart in his A-League days, but now with Kayserispor in Turkey. Ryan forced into a hasty clearance with Faisal closing him down.
Great little snapshot on the difficulties of the pitch. And Matt Ryan is very cool under pressure and great with his feet, but even that was bobbling and racing away from him.
So fresh legs in midfield in the form of James Holland, and the first minutes in Kuwait for Adam Taggart, the match winner last time these countries squared off in November of 2019. Been working hard with Andrew Clark, the strength and conditioning man of the Socceroos, to get his body right. That hip problem now overcome. Jamie McLaren, another uneventful game for Australia's number 9.
Not a game laced with a lot of chances. Number of contributing factors to that, I'd suggest, and the main one is how steeled Jordan are to get this result here tonight.
Adam Taggart now playing his football in Japan with Cerezo Osaka. Just 84 minutes of game time so far, looking to get involved immediately. He wanted Bajic to play him in behind or to feet. Bajic chose Holland instead. Now Frustic. Swept wide to Altamari. Chance to run at Degenek, try and turn the corner on him perhaps, but Degenek holding him at bay. Keeper was the cry, and just overhit that cross from Haddad. Game opening up here, and Boyle tripped up. Most obvious yellow card of the evening will go the way of Mohamed Khairullah. Another crucial World Cup qualifier in Asia tonight. UAE 2, Vietnam 0. Both of those countries should go through to the next stage.
With the result as it is, UAE in that category of teams that need to win, of course, being steered by former Socceroos coach Graham Arnold's predecessor, Bert van Marwijk.
Sutar has already been picked out once from a set piece. It's the deepest runner here, and the header just wide from Sainsbury, who has scored in the last week for Graham Arnold's side.
Yeah, didn't he get up well then? Trent Sainsbury, of course, a lot of the attention goes towards Harry Suter. Sainsbury leapt nicely at the back post.
It would have been some way to cap game number 50 for his country. So Borkelmans has made a big change here. Hamza Al-Dador, as we know him, in the number 20 shirt, straight into the action. Scorer of 29 international goals. One more would equal the all-time record for Jordan.
Had a very good Asian Cup 2015, Hamza Al-Dador, exciting player. Scored crucial goals. It's no surprise that he's been invited to do the same here today against this very difficult opponent for Jordan. Not the team you want to have to face when you need to win a match to stay alive in the competition.
There's the encouragement from Borkelmans to finish this game strongly. Khairullah a bit more careful that time to poke it away from Taggart. Abdul Rahman couldn't get it over the top of Irvine, and seen a lot of this kind of activity in this game. Clever ball by Bajic, finds Frustic in the middle. Little nutmeg from the technician, the Eintracht Frankfurt man. So difficult to change direction on this pitch. Irvine just demonstrated that. And Frustic bit off a bit too much, trying to get Bajic in behind.
Yeah, hasn't been able to influence the game much tonight. Frustic.
Haddad kept it in, took a risk. Bajic there to pounce. He's got teammates in the middle. As is Bajic, back heel. It's alive for Holland. Back off the post. Still a chance for James Holland, who just loves playing for his country, and nearly put them in front.
Well, he was about to love it even more, Speedy. Fantastic work from Aziz Bajic. It was a poor ball out to Haddad, put him under enormous pressure. Aziz Bajic did an excellent job. James Holland anticipating, reacting, pouncing and thrashing the ball onto the post.
That close to his first international goal. Cap number 17 tonight for Jimmy Holland. In swinging corner, Suter! Another international goal for Big Harry. Goal number 6 for his country. And the tallest Socceroos outfield player ever is such a threat at set pieces, and don't Jordan know it? What an uphill battle now for Jordan.
Well, not surprised that Harry Suter would score from a set piece with his head. A little bit of a surprise that he didn't have to out-jump anyone. He stooped for this. And as the Socceroos players celebrate, a couple of them have to go for the step ladder to ruffle the quaff and say, well done, Harry. Helps himself to another. Such an imposing figure, and pleasingly can play as well.
Goal a game, Harry. 6 in 6 for his country. 3 against Chinese Taipei, 2 on debut against Nepal, and now a massive goal against Jordan. You can see why he's going to be a defensive lock for the Socceroos next month. Just 22 years of age. He has to go for it now. Vital Borkelmans brought on Hamza Al-Dador just a few minutes before copping that goal. He might call on even more attacking options now, which might open the door for Australia to add to their goal tally in this qualification phase. Switch on straight away, the rallying cry from Graham Arnold as Jordan restart the game after that drinks break. It's been so tough on the players. Graham Arnold hailing their professionalism to deal with the hotel lockdown in Kuwait for these 4 games every 4 days. And they make it 4 wins out of 4 and 8 wins in a row overall. Al Tamari with 2 to contend with. Haddad whipped it in. And Suter did enough in the middle at some expense. Boyle went down again. It was that same man, Kairula. Referee deciding that wasn't enough for a foul that time. Foul earned by Ahmed Ersan, another of the substitutes to have come on for Borkelmans here. Here he is again. Abdul Rahman working it wide to Haddad. All ball in, easily dealt with by Degenek. Australia digging in to protect their lead and always a threat on the counter-attack as well. Now Al-Tamari teeing up. Faisal in the middle. Australia getting bodies in the road, but Jordan really going after it now. Hooked out by Holland. And that will do for Australia right now.
Good chance, good side at goal. Great pressure from Jordan. Backs to the wall. They're very difficult opponents, and of course that's where they find themselves now. Their World Cup progression hanging by a thread. Care of the Harry Suter goal. Aussies will be in no rush to get the ball back into play.
Inside the final 10 minutes of the 90, and Al Nashama, the Brave, really have to find something here in response to copping the goal from Harry Suter. Degenek with his hands full again. In combination with Holland, Australia take it back. Riley McGree being readied by Graham Arnold. Another of those youngsters coming through and breaking into the senior team while still being eligible for the Socceroos. Big motivation for Graham Arnold to bring through fresh blood. Krustic able to turn. Grant teasing it in, intended for Taggart. Al-Tamari's looked like such a good outlet. Need to go to him a bit more often.
Yeah, he's been impressive. I mean, they've had a lot of good players tonight. Yazan at the back has been outstanding. Abdul Rahman, terrific. Baha Faisal. And they've done well enough to get something out of this game. Quite clearly, Australia's most difficult match in this whole excursion to Kuwait City.
There is Al-Tamari, a little over-ambitious, trying to beat Matty Ryan from there.
About 10 minutes from job being done for the Socceroos. Can pack up and move on. Conversely, about 10 minutes for Al Nashama, the Brave, to resuscitate their campaign. Are they brave enough, Speedy?
Australia trying to beat them back-to-back for the first time. The 7th meeting between these countries. And it's McGree coming on for Boyle. Aiden Krustic also leaving, so a double change from Arnie. Terrific showing from Aiden Krustic in this mini tournament before heading back to Germany with Eintracht Frankfurt.
Make it out! Seconds. Yes.
Aouar Mobile, the other one to come off the bench just now. Hasn't had too many opportunities here in Kuwait City. Chance to finish with a bang. The Midtjylland man. Good win there by Grant. Mobile, lay off. And can they prevent the corner? Just.
Worth the effort. if it means not having to block Harry Suter from your goal. Mutaz Yassin hacking the ball clear for a Socceroos throw.
Mobile went one way, Bajic went the other. Graham Arnold urging A1 Mobile to take his man on. Great experience earned with Midtjylland on the Champions League stage. A1 Mobile. So Vital Borkelmans empties his bench, trying to find a hero. See what kind of shape they go with now, Jordan. Australia looking to keep them pinned in at this end. Late challenge, and Aziz Bajic didn't appreciate it one little bit, and they go like bulls in the paddock, and you'll be lucky to not see a red card.
Have to be.
What on earth? Ehsan Haddad. And the Socceroo went down. The referee talking it over with his assistants and fourth official about further sanction here.
Well, that's bad enough as it is, but leading with the head is a straight red. Foot's up, yellow card for that, fair enough. But what's followed is completely unacceptable. As for the third man in, with a jab to Aziz Bajic, will be the end of Jordan's campaign from here.
So Aziz Bajic, the victim of a headbutt from Ehsan Haddad, and unbelievably, it might just be a yellow card. No, there is the right to... Well,
that's for the jab.
He's got the wrong man.
Well, no. That's for the jab. On if it's right man or wrong man, we'll wait to see. Perhaps
there's no VAR, and Al Tamari, he was the third man in. He might have done the push and shove, but Ehsan Haddad headbutted Aziz Bajic.
They both should go for that, and go for that, striking at the play. Clear.
He was just pushing him away, wasn't he?
It's a red, Speedy. That's quite clearly bracketed as violent conduct, as is the headbutt. They should have lost two. Pity from him, because Al Tamari has been outstanding, exciting to watch. His emotion got the better of him then.
His teammate should be the one who serves a lengthy ban for the headbutt on Bajic. It's chewed up valuable time for Jordan. It remains to be seen whether the referee adds all of this time on, but it's been a significant stoppage before A1 Mobile can whip in the free kick. Sutar just making sure the referee is aware as he looks to get on the end of this one too.
Well, there was enough in that exchange for Ehsan Haddad to get two yellow cards in the one sequence. Yellow for the tackle, yellow for the headbutt.
Or red for the headbutt.
It should have been, I know, but what I'm saying is he transgressed twice in the one sequence. It was a very soft adjudication from the match officials.
A1 Mobile thought he may have been shown two yellow cards. He saw him immediately, so that's two for number 23, but he'd yet to see that initial red card. More on that post-game with Adam Bozza and Robbie. His hand, is that a strike?
Yeah, his hand's in the face. That's what they'll call. That's what they'll call it. And I've no problem with that, actually.
Nothing of the VAR was operational. I think the other man may have been the one having an early shower. Sutar being turned around here, and he's caught late. Didn't appreciate that treatment from Hamza Al-Dador. Referee getting on top of that potential flashpoint.
Number 8, there's Odai Al-Saifi. It's a pity that we mightn't see much more of him at international football against the Socceroos. He's been an ever-present for Jordan in our particular struggles against them over the years. Come off the bench now to try and salvage this one before Altamari got sent off, and hope from that point on, such that any existed after Harry Sutar's goal, had probably completely evaporated.
Cap number 113 for Al-Saifi. Gets his head on it there. Ahmed Ersan has done some nice things off the bench. Enough to show that maybe he could have been used as a starter today. 5 minutes of stoppage time remain. Vital Borkelmans hoping for a miracle. Australia in complete control, as they have been throughout Group B. Plenty going on for the referee to keep an eye on here. Matty Ryan outside of his area. Had a lot of preparation for these games in Kuwait. Jordan, 12 internationals they've played since returning from the COVID suspension. Compare that with Australia, who had so long in the international wilderness before returning for these 4 games. It counts for nothing now. Sainsbury got there. Important challenge to thwart another potential attack. This time McGree is upended. Ryan Grant told to leave at the nearest possible point to allow for the introduction here of Fran Karacic. Going with the collar up today for his late cameo.
Very Cantona-esque of him. So he leaves the kung fu kick in the kit bag. What a warrior he's been for Al Nashima.
Important for Australia not to get dragged into any of the violent stuff. Awa Mobile and Aziz Baich doing well to avoid getting dragged in moments ago. And the red card flashpoint. Sutar able to deal with that long ball. They ask for handball against Holland and get no joy. Australia a chance on the counter-attack. Look at Irvine finding the energy reserves at this stage of the game after the minutes that he's played. Al Saifi came across and took ball and man.
Some of these decisions today have been really hard to follow. Referees swooping on no contact, sliding through the back of a player like this, appealing for everything as they are. Jordan at the moment. No sign of a handball there was the claim.
Slip through behind, but Matty Ryan can let it roll into his area, pick it up or let it roll. He chooses the latter option. And we're just 90 seconds away from full time in Kuwait City. What have you made of Australia's performances here?
No fuss. Did well, difficult circumstances, played some good stuff. Not really tested until today. As much as this was a test, very tough conditions and a tough opponent. But they've handled it well. The next phase of qualifying is going to be altogether a lot more difficult.
Elsewhere, still Iran 1, Iraq 0. UAE 2-0 over Vietnam. Australia would love to be in pot 1 for the next draw. Wait and see how the FIFA rankings shake down before that draw is made. Degenek with desperation. Al Saifi hitting and hoping, and cut out by McGree. Final minute here. Karacic with fresh legs. McGree tried to play him in. Sloppy pass in the end by the Birmingham City man. He'll go into the book for that late hack. I think his teammates will appreciate that work from Riley McGree. Australia getting some of their own back there. Well, an equaliser at the death won't even be enough for Jordan. It would only count for pride. And keeper to keeper again. Seen that a few times tonight. Full-time whistle looms here in Kuwait City. The ball in the hands of the captain. 8 wins out of 8. Perfection in the group stage for Australia. The Socceroos go through to the next phase of qualification, knowing that tougher tasks lie ahead. But they got the job done again tonight. Graham Arnold delighted with the man that he recruited from Scotland, Harry Souttar, popping up with another priceless goal. He's going at a goal a game now. Harry Souttar, 6 in 6. Jordan are out of this World Cup qualification phase. Vital Borkermans, a man under immense pressure now. Full time tonight. It is Australia 1, Jordan 0.
That's a big result for the Socceroos, and you could hear it at full time how much it meant. Congratulations to the team, the staff, everyone involved with the crew over there in Kuwait. Huge achievement to go through one phase of qualifying without dropping a single point. 100% record through 8 matches. Robbie Slater and Mark Bosnich here to analyse the last of those victories. Robbie, that was a big win. Tough going at stages, but certainly...
Yeah, second half they were very good. And really good test for them. And that's what's ahead, that type of game. Against better opposition in phase 3, that's exactly what they're going to get. They're going to be tough games.
Yeah, they stayed in it, you have to say. When I say stayed in, I don't mean that they were out of it in any type of way, but they, they stuck with what Jordan were doing, which was being desperate. They were playing desperate football. They really needed a win. And coming back to what we spoke about during the pre-match, Adam, when you asked about Harry Souttar, once again showing what a weapon he can be from set plays.
Goal of game, Harry.
Yeah.
That's how he's going at the moment. He could end up playing 100 caps and 100 goals the way he's travelling. But seriously, it must be so difficult to match up on this guy.
Well, it shouldn't be, Adam, to be honest. But like I said, coming back to what we said pre-game, like I said, there are so many teams in Asia who do a lot of things better than us. But there's one thing that we do better than pretty much every other side is winning the balls in the air. And like I was saying to Robbie, outside as well. I said, look, you know, that, you know, it's going to be so crucial. It may be so crucial coming to the ultimate aim. Forget about all this. You know, we talk about we've won every game, this, that, and the other. That will mean absolutely nothing if we don't qualify. But if we have to use that type of weapon to qualify, then so be it.
Yeah, absolutely. Robbie, the second half, expand on your point about why you thought we were certainly the better team by the end of the 96
Yeah, well, I just thought we matched their intensity, and I'm not sure we really didn't in the first half, but we saw how desperate Jordan were. But I thought that our class came in the second half in crucial moments, and the players worked very, very hard all over the pitch in that second half. And
this should have been a goal.
Yeah. God, that was incredible, and the intensity was there, and it was a really good performance again.
Yeah, James Holland trying to scratch his head about how you said in. As soon as it came off his boot.
When it hit the post, it looked like it came back out from the goal. So I was like, wow, what the hell's going on here? But there you go, it doesn't matter. 3 points.
Like me, when that camera came out of me just seen out of that shot, I was like, whoa. One needs to see that at 4 a.m. Oscar, the director. The incident at the end, it got a little like this is basically Jordan getting a bit frustrated with the whole situation. Valid red card?
Of course it is. You can't put your hands up. Simple as that. And you definitely can't put your hands in somebody's face. Unfortunately, we can't see it there because of the thing on the bottom, but look. Yeah?
There it was.
Yeah. Okay. Aziz Behich didn't cover himself in glory in terms of not trying to get a fellow professional sent off, but the bottom line is you cannot put your hands in somebody's face. Yeah?
Here it comes. Yeah, he has tried to get him sent off, but he's taken matters out of his own hands.
Yeah, there's contact, and you can't do that, and it's aggressive, and he gets a red card. But you put it right. It's their frustration coming through because they could see it slipping away. Because they needed a draw was never good enough for them. They needed to win, and they could see that slipping away.
Yeah, Kuwait can go above them on the ladder. Jordan with the win over Chinese Taipei, that kick off in an hour's time, but it won't mean much because the results won't get these teams in the place of the 5 best runners-up, which all these matches are happening at the moment. There's a bit of drama. Iran leading Iraq at the moment. UAE getting a good result against Vietnam as it stands right now. So both of those teams should go through, as Hart's mentioned in commentary, and Speedy as well. So that's how it'll finish for Australia and Jordan. That is a beautiful picture for Australia, as good as we could have hoped for. Plus 26 as well, 24 points, 8 games played, 8 wins. We're off to a quick break here to wrap things up for our Socceroos coverage on Fox Sports. We're back in a moment after a Socceroos success, which makes us smile again. Australia 1, Jordan 0. See you soon. Welcome back, and we're welcoming back after another Socceroos success in these World Cup qualifiers. 1-0 over Jordan. Big Harry Suter with another goal. Got a bit testy towards the end there, as his Behich involved in a few things with the Jordanians, who got reduced to 10 men. And in the end, the Socceroos just a shade too good, thanks to this guy, Harry Suter, with another goal. Here he is after that winner.
Harry Suter, 5 goals in 6 games for Australia. This run just keeps going.
I think you can see from the smile on my face, I'm absolutely delighted. Forget about the goal, it was all about the performance and the 3 points there. Before we came to this camp, we set out, we had 4 wins, but we were desperate to win another 4 and win all 8, and that's what we've done. And I think you can see tonight how much it meant to all the boys out there, throwing their bodies on the line, defending, but we played some really good stuff as well. Yeah, I'm just so happy that we got over the line.
It was a really gritty game, and Jordan certainly gave as good as they got. You must be pleased with the way the team fought.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, everyone fought tooth and nail, boys throwing their bodies in front of everything, challenges, but it was clever as well. There was clever play. Making no excuses. I think the ref had a couple of dodgy decisions in there, to say the least. A couple of our boys, but listen, we got on with it. We got the job done, and you can just see I'm so delighted.
It's a little slice of Australian history. The first time Australia's won 8 consecutive matches in a single World Cup qualifying campaign. That's massive.
Yeah, of course. We set out before the game. We knew that stat. And like I said before, we came into this camp in Kuwait. That was our goal, to win all 8, and that's what we've done. We've got over the line, and I think you can see from the celebrations after. The boys are just so delighted.
The man that will come in next, Trent Sainsbury's 50th cap for Australia. Quite the milestone. You partnered him as one of the defenders this evening. So great to get a great win for him on this milestone match.
Yeah, of course. He's been brilliant with me since I've came into camp. I'm not just saying this because he's standing right beside me, but you know, he's one of the leaders in camp. He's one of the boys that, you know, the young lads look up to. Sets a real good example for everyone to follow. And you can see on the pitch he's a leader as well. So, you know, to play beside him makes my job a lot easier. And obviously, congratulations on the 50 caps. Unbelievable.
The end of our time here in Kuwait, but what's next for Harry Suter?
Go home for a couple of days, relax, and then hope, you know, it's about the Olympics. Hopefully, I know the squad's not announced yet, but hopefully I'm selected, and we go there and we just give it our all and make Australia proud.
We'd love to see you in green and gold in Tokyo. All the best, Harry, and well done on a great performance here in Kuwait.
Thanks very much, guys. Cheers.
Half a chance he will be on that form, goal-scoring form, Harry Suter. So, what's the quizzical looks for?
Nothing. We're listening to what you're saying, Adam.
Okay.
Yeah, just like you do with us. That's all.
There's a few quizzical looks when that happens sometimes.
It's been quizzical looks over many years.
He's an absolute weapon, and yeah, hopefully he does get to Tokyo, and yeah, those players will be getting up to Dubai, UAE, where I understand they'll just keep ticking over with Graham Arnold and some of the staff, the ones that will go to the Tokyo Olympics, like Danny Jonro and Connor Metcalf, and Big Harry. We started broadcasting Socceroos matches on Fox Sports, and Harry Kewell was doing his thing. We're going to leave it with Harry Suter doing his thing, Robbie. How good?
Yeah, like Boz has said and pointed it out all along this sort of mini tournament, if you want, that he's such a threat from set pieces. It's obvious. And he does it. He produces.
Here's the man who played his 50th game for the Socceroos this evening, Trent Sainsbury.
8 wins from 8 games. How do you feel?
Yeah, it's an unbelievable achievement. You know, it's such a strong group we got here, and the belief is unbelievable. And I don't think people understand just how difficult it is to come away to places like this and to play on pitches that are, you know, subpar is putting it nicely. You know, and yeah, to pull off a 1-0 win, okay, it's from a set piece, but at the same time, like I said, conditions are ridiculous, and it just shows how tough and strong this team is mentally.
I mean, what did you make of the performance tonight? I mean, the goal did come from a set piece, but hit the bar a couple of times, and there were other chances. What did you make of the game?
Yeah, you know, we did have quite a few chances, some half chances as well, and we stopped them from basically getting anything. Like I said, on a pitch like this, it can bring your standard down, but at the same time, you know, we stuck to our principles, and you know, 1-0 result, we'll take it, but we thoroughly deserved it.
And mixing up the system tonight as well, you know, each game things have been very different, and I think reflects well on you guys in terms of being able to be flexible.
Yeah, I think, you know, teams are going to be surprised how we set up. They're not going to be able to pick us as a one-formation team, whether it be 4-2-3-1 or 5-4-1, it doesn't matter. We're going to stick to our principles and, you know, play the way that we want to play at our speed, play at our tempo, and, you know, get the win wherever we go and against whoever we play.
And a milestone tonight for yourself. Arnie actually said pre-match he didn't even realise that it was your 50th cap. Did you?
I didn't realise it until a couple of people were talking about it pre-camp, but you know, it's always in the back of your mind, I guess. It's a big milestone, but you know, I'm just happy for the boys, and you know, I'm happy to be a part of the camp still.
I mean, take a second to reflect on it though. It's a huge achievement, you know, like it hasn't been, you know, reached by many other players, and you're amongst some really special players in Socceroos history.
Yeah, I always go back to my first cap against Belgium, and I think how lucky I was to get one, and you know, to get 50. You know, like you said, it's a pretty big thing. But at the same time, I just love being a part of this team, you know, this family, with the boys.
Take your time. What's going through your mind?
Sorry, mate.
You're on, mate.
You know, just when I think I was a good shout to go to the, I think it was the 2014 World Cup. Busted my knee open. I broke my kneecap, and you know, thought my career was finished. To get to 50, you know, it means a lot. Like I said, just grateful to be amongst it with the boys. 8 wins from 8. Can't think of anything better. And we're going to get more and achieve bigger and better things.
Speak about go get amongst the boys and enjoy the win, mate. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you, mate.
There's a guy who loves playing for his country, Robbie Slater.
You can see it right there. No need to say anything.
how good, Bozza, from Trent Sainsbury to show that meaning of how much it means to him. I mean, okay, he got emotional on the camera.
What he's been through as well, you know, that terrible injury he got, and he said it there. Thought his career was over, like, you know, and that's the emotion of playing for your country. And I guess I touched on it in the pre-game, Bozza, of the hub they've been in, where they've been in lockdown, all together, just them, you know, police escorts to training and back. I guess, you know, when he talks of that family feeling, I think we just saw what it means right there.
It's not easy to replicate a club feel at national team level, but it seems Australia always has that advantage of when players go into camp, they become as one pretty easy. I mean, nothing's perfect, but there's that sense of brotherhood when everyone comes into camp. And obviously it's apparent in this particular group.
I think because the vast majority of players do play overseas, so that as you go overseas, you become more Australian because you're singled out as being an Australian. And coming back, you're seeing a lot of people that you haven't seen for quite some time, I guess. But that's really down to the manager to install that type of spirit as well.
And that's sort of turned around because I remember, and Bozzy, you were a part of it, and it's great because in our day, it wasn't frowned upon, but I remember in our day that when the first players started going overseas, and we talked about Eddie Crunchevich, David Mitchell, and then there was myself, Graham Arnold, Bozza. It was frowned upon in some ways that the overseas players were somehow different, because I remember there was a policy within Soccer Australia, it was called at the time, that the captain had to be a home-based player. And I remember that sort of irked me at the time, and I never really talked about it too much amongst the players, but it was almost like saying that if you were playing overseas, that you were less Australian, and you know, it just felt wrong.
Yeah.
And of course, as time went on, more and more players went overseas, and you were, at some stages, every player was playing overseas, so you had to have the best player as captain. In that time, when it was transitional and players started going, it certainly wasn't the case.
Yeah, it's totally changed right now, and for the better. Just looking ahead to this weekend, 2 matches coming your way from the A-League, the semi-finals, Sydney FC and Adelaide United on Saturday. Should be a beauty at Cogra, near capacity, if not capacity, to watch 2 very good football sides go around, Bozza.
Yeah, can't wait for this one. Adelaide with a massive shock last week against Brisbane Roar, who were heavy favourites, but this man here, Tommy Juric, was unstoppable in that first half. And then they held out second half, but it was a marvellous victory, and a lot of credit must go to Carl Viet and Ross Aloisi, because, like I said, there was not many people who gave him a chance. And the favourites here, Melbourne City, who have been fantastic all season, coming up against the MacArthur side, who pulled off an upset as well, but one who showed great character. And another team, in terms of MacArthur, who have got the experienced players to cause an upset. We're still not certain where it's going to be. We believe it will be at Amy, but here's the winning goal from Michael Roos last week on that wonderful night up at Central Coast. But we'll find out probably within, well, today, later on today, whether or not it will be at Amy Park.
Just before we go, I've got to give a special shout out to Paige in behind the scenes here at Fox Sports in MCR, who bring all the pictures in.
Hello, Paige.
Wasn't an easy night tonight, given what happened in Kuwait, but did a magnificent job and got us get us back on air and bring you those pictures of that second half in Kuwait. So well done, Paige, and hopefully you don't have too many more nights like that. We won't have any more nights like that with the Socceroos. It's been a privilege bringing you the national teams on Fox Sports, Socceroos and Matildas. So many great memories with you, passionate Australians.
Thank you very much.
Two things stand out for me. When I knew exactly how passionate you were about Australia succeeding on the world stage. You, Aman, 2013, when you came on at half-time and just gave it to the team after a performance that wasn't up to your standards. And you, in 2013 as well, I think it was, later that year, after the France 6-0, and you threw your pen.
That's crap.
That's crap. That, to me, summed up how much you loved the national team after representing them and then getting to broadcast them here on Fox
And thank
Sports.
you very much, Adam. It's been an absolute privilege working alongside you. From a TV perspective, this is not Robbie or I's #1 job, but it is yours, and we've learned a great deal. Thank you very much.
No, thank you, Mark, and thank you for making it easy. Rob,
now, can we go watch France Germany?
Well, it's been a pleasure. It has. It's been a pleasure and a privilege. It's not something that you take for granted, and it's been here for a long time. but we've enjoyed it, and the journey goes on.
Yes.
And we will remain as passionate as we always have for the Socceroos, but it just won't be here.
No, whatever we're doing, we'll be watching. We'll be watching the Socceroos, we'll be watching the Matildas perform on the world stage, because that is what being a part of the world game is. And yes, as Robbie said, it has been an absolute privilege bringing you the Socceroos wherever they're playing in the world, whatever time they're playing in the world, and the Matildas as well. Thanks for your company.
Got to find my pen.
This has been a Fox Sports production.